All right, so LSU has an SEC kind of problem. And by that I mean, ain't nothing but positives down in the SEC country. And I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about the COVID, okay? Ed Orgeron kind of surprised people when he said, I think most of my football team has contracted COVID-19. To which people are like, oh, hey, wait a second. Do you say most of your football team? He's like, well, I mean, like over the course of the year, yeah. But I don't want to say that everybody got it, but a bunch of them got it. And last week, 4 or 5 of them got it. He made it sound like it ain't that big a deal. And he's trying to take this next man up mentality, which I hate. I understand the rationale behind it, but I also think it treats the kids as if they're not actual human beings who might have some suffering that they're going through. And I just don't like the way that language is tossed about. That said, like, if LSU continues to contract the COVID in the COVID-rich state of Louisiana, I have tremendous questions about what they're going to be capable of. And you know what? There are lots of questions to be answered about this LSU football team. Starting with, can they actually be healthy enough to field a football team? Because with transfers and opt-outs, they're down to about 70 scholarship players, right? You're also asking a new coordinator and a new passing game coordinator to come in and do the same or close to the same of what you had last year with Dave Aranda, Joe Brady, and Steve Ensminger. Now, Scott Linehan is respected as a passing game coordinator. I mean, with Matthew Stafford and Megatron, had over 5,000 yards passing like 09, and he's been around the NFL. Also, add to that, Steve Ensminger is the offensive coordinator. Scott Linehan is basically a glorified grad assistant. On the other side, though, you have a completely different scheme and a completely different coordinator in Bo Pelini, who's going to run a 4-3. He's also going to do it without Tyler Shelvin and without Kerry Vincent and without at least one defensive end. So, along with the questions of the coordinators and the scheme, I have questions about who's the number 2 corner. We all know that Derek Stingley Jr. is going to be the number 1. Cool. I want to know what you're going to do with the versatility of Jacoby Stevens, who could be a first-round draft pick next year. And I have questions about the defensive line. And really, who's going to be next to Jabril Cox in the middle that you can trust. It's not that they're not talented. It's that they're inexperienced. On the other side of the ball, you're losing 4 of 5 starters from a Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line. Okay? That's a problem. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Bama. If you got to replace 4 of 5 starters on your offensive line, you're not going to be very good to start the season. You're going to be vulnerable. You also have a new quarterback that you're breaking in one Myles Brennan. And you need Myles Brennan to be good. You don't need him to be Joe Burrow, but you do need him to be good. Also add to that, who's your third wide receiver, right? Because I think we all expect now Terrence Marshall's going to be the guy. But losing Justin Jefferson, losing Jamar Chase to opting out, losing what I thought was one of the best skill sets in all of football, maybe ever, when you talk about Thad Moss at tight end. But are you going to use Eric Gilbert as that number 2? Perhaps, probably. But I'm really here for Racing McMath and that experience, so I want to see it. It's not that they're not talented. They're deep at wide receiver in talent. It's that they're inexperienced. That's what I want to see. I want to know that they can do the one heartbeat thing. I want to know that Ed Orgeron has his hands wrapped around this program, because the things that made Ed Orgeron great in 2019 might be the things that hold Ed Orgeron back in 2020. Peep game. Bruce Feldman's got a book coming out in October that I can't wait to read about LSU and about how Ed Orgeron took over that program and turned it around from the loss to Troy into one of the great college football teams of all time. And one of the things that is stressed about the way that Ed Orgeron chose to go about being head coach is he organized himself and he had a true hands-off approach when it came to his assistants. He relies on his assistants to do their jobs. Mickey Joseph, Corey Raymond, James Craig, all of these guys were able to do their jobs well, and Ed Orgeron was not here to micromanage anybody. But it seems at this particular juncture, the strength of a football team might be in its micromanaging. Nick Saban's of the world, where you know everything that's going on in your program all the time. And that's how you are able to keep your kids safe and to keep them COVID-free. This is going to be an interesting conversation as we open it up to the Big Ten. But I have tremendous questions about LSU, right? I have questions about how are you going to play, not just in the SEC West, but with a couple of your SEC East opponents that might actually have something to say. Like, I'm really interested to see what Ole Miss and Mississippi State turned out to be in 2020 with Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin running the show. I'm excited to watch Arkansas go through this Saw movie of a schedule, just a horror show. But I'm going to be interested to see what Ed Orgeron is actually made of, what his team is made of, and how bought in they are to trying to defend their 2019 national championship. All right, check the chat right quick. And then I want to get into this USC Keaton Slovis thing because I think this is wild. All right, let's see. Check the chat. Does Nebraska deserve most of the credit for the return of the Big Ten, or would this not be possible without the Ohio State influence? I want to dig into this a little bit deeper, but I think this is Ohio State-led because Ohio State's good. It's not because Nebraska doesn't care about football. We know damn well Nebraska cares about football. They sell out the spring game every single year. But without Ohio State having a head coach who's 17-1 and a head coach who never stopped stumping for his kids, and without a Heisman Trophy finalist at quarterback and like 12 NFL first-round draft picks on either side of the ball, it's really difficult. I say that because Penn State was good last year. They won 11 games. They won the Cotton Bowl. Nobody's giving Penn State any credit because nobody cares about Penn State outside of the Big Ten. Same thing could be said about Minnesota or Iowa, two teams that I know wanted to play football as well. It's not that Nebraska doesn't deserve some credit. It's that Ohio State really does lead the Big Ten Conference. It's really kind of that simple, as much as I hate to put it that way. Let me see what else we got in here. See if I get to one more question before we get back on the schedule. Fields still have a path to the Heisman? Abso-friggin-lutely he does, because there's so many people that want to see him win it. It's kind of like a Jalen Hurts experience last year. I mean, Jalen Hurts ended up as the Heisman runner-up in the voting to Joe Burrow in a year where I'm like, I don't know, man, Chase Young probably the best non-quarterback in the country, and I would have given Chase Young more votes than I would have given Jalen Hurts, but I'm not a Jalen Hurts truther anyway. Also add to that, Justin Fields was a finalist last year. And if Joe Burrow didn't do what Joe Burrow did, we're probably talking about Justin Fields challenging Jalen Hurts for the Heisman Trophy. And if they get to play 8 games, which is a big deal, then we can have that conversation. But as it stands right now, they play 8 games, and Justin Fields plays the way that he played last year. 3,000 yards, like 2 picks, like 40 touchdowns, 67% completion percentage. Yeah, no reason not to. All right, let me do a read right quick. This year, make your family happy and horrible with the Ghouls and Poltergeist products. These aren't your run-of-the-mill craft kits with googly eyes and candy corn. No, sir. These kits at Ghouls and Poltergeist products make learning to sew fake eyeballs and severed heads into activities the whole family can repulsively enjoy. Give them the gift that terrifies a Ghouls and Ghost at Ghouls and Ghost products. At Ghouls and Ghost Poltergeist products this Halloween. Use the promo code Happy Halloween Haters, trick or treat, smell my feet at checkout. At Ghouls and Poltergeist products are horrible.com. Who wrote this copy? At checkout and save an extra 15%. Remember, that's Ghouls and Ghost Poltergeist products are horrible for an extra 15% off with the promo code Happy Halloween Haters, trick or treat, smell my feet. No refunds, some leet spellings, and random capitalization to the promo code may apply. The hell is that? I gotta talk to the sales manager, because I mean, I get that Halloween is seasonal and whatnot, but is this what we're doing now? Like trick or treat, smell my feet for the promo code? The hell is this? Some leet spellings may okay. You know what? The hell with it. Let's talk about Keaton Slovis in USC.